What up, faithful? Welcome to the Forever Faithful Nation podcast, brought to you by the good folks over at ProMed. Check out ProMed for all your betting needs. Use our code Executives2026 for 15% off your total order. I don't know where the hell breaking news just went, but I got a I got a full crew tonight. LG, what's happening with you?
What up, what up, what up, what up, man? Hey, the 9ation is in the house tonight. Hey, bro, we got a lot of things to digest today, but happy to be back in the house. Hey, not even just Pro Meet, man. Check out all our partnership deals. Go buy everything you could possibly think about. Got a lot of good partnership deals out there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like he said, check out the Executive View page too, executiveview.com. We got links. You can get anything you need, any sport you want, we got it. Breaking news. Where'd you go, man? You good?
Hey man, listen, we had a small technical difficulty. My small chihuahua decided she no longer wanted to be in the office, and it was a full blown break meltdown. It looked like a 2 year old throwing a fit. She decided she no longer wanted to sit in here and talk about the Niners, so I had to let her out. Sorry about that. But
That's all
while we're
good.
talking about different things that you can do, because I did hear Larry talking about the merch, so I just wrote that down. Something that maybe not everybody knows about, because I had somebody hit me up, and obviously I hit one of our executive producers, Sirius, up. For those of you wondering, like, hey man, like, how do I find these shows? Because like, we'll share the show, but like, I want to watch it live. These shows are live for you on YouTube, on Facebook. If you're friends with the Executive View, like you can see behind Larry there, LG, make sure you're watching us live, because if you have questions, if you have comments, if you have something you want us to answer to, listen, we don't pull punches. We're more than happy to answer anything that the fans want to hear, as long as it's Niners related.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Um,
Or Niners adjacent. It could be Niners adjacent.
now yeah, we still gonna
It
give
could be
you that
Niners
real
adjacent.
though. Um,
Hey,
we
look, them
got a lot.
Seahawks.
We got.
Hey,
Oh,
them
go ahead. What
Seahawks,
you
them
say?
Seahawks, they came on over. Hey, them Seahawks came on over. The Rams came on over. Hey, and we already
Abs-
know them Cowgirls can come get some too.
Oh yeah, we'll talk it all with you. We
Yeah, we
gonna
talk
give
it
it to
all
you.
with you.
But we got a lot. We
yeah.
got a lot of news to get into. First things first. I'll see how y'all feel. I don't know if it's good news, if it's bad. I mean, it ain't bad news. But George Kittle back, activated off pup. What y'all think? Would you play him in week one? Would you have him travel to Australia for this game? LG, I'll let you go
LG.
ahead first.
No, I wouldn't. Um, just because when you factor in age and injury, um, I would want to not just make sure he's 100%. I want to make sure he's 1,000% ready to go. And week one, is it detrimental to our season? It's a division game, maybe, maybe not, but I would not want to roll the dice with Kittle. And regardless of what people say, uh, Tunges is actually a really good receiver when we don't have Kittle. And then I'll go even further. Um, I don't know what's going to happen with our tight end room, and Braden Willis has actually had a really good camp. I don't know if we're gonna keep him on the roster or he's gonna, they're gonna try to sneak him on the practice squad. But Kittle, hey, grab a hat, grab a Coke and smile, sit on the sideline, do whatever we got to do. Even if he's off the pup, but he's not on the active roster, do whatever we got to do. But let him sit out and chill. Hoodie season, bro. Hoodie season.
How you feeling? Breaking news. You taking him over there?
Yeah, so I'm with LG. I'll take him over there, but he's not even wearing his pads when he comes out the tunnel. Like, I want him there for emotional. He's an energy guy, right? He's a good vibes guy. And even if he's doing 11 on 11s and he's good to go, here's the thing, guys. Number one, we're playing in Australia. We don't know what that field's going to look like, right? We don't know, we don't know what the condition of the field's going to look like, all that kind of stuff. So we play the Rams, even if we lose, right? Let's say we lose week one to the Rams, and that's not a given, but if we do, we then play the Dolphins, which we should be able to beat without Kittle. We then play the Cardinals, who we should be able to beat without Kittle. And then we play the Broncos at home. I think the earliest Kittle should come back is at the Broncos October 4th at home because we know Levi is a Achilles friendly zone because it's a grass field that's well kept. So that's me. That's the earliest I bring him back. But I got news for you. If we were to beat the Rams, right, and let's say we start the season off 4-0, I'm not even going to bring him back for Denver. I'm probably going to shelf him until we play the Raiders on Sunday, November 8th, which is like 7, 8 weeks in. I mean, we have to understand this dude popped this Achilles December of last year. He had the
January.
yeah, I was gonna say he didn't have the surgery till January. Like
He
we're
didn't pop it
talking
till January. He popped it in the
yeah.
playoffs.
So we're literally talking about a dude that is less than 8 months removed from surgery. So I mean, listen, I'm not. I've seen him run. He can cut. Like all that's great, but as we know, it's one thing to do it without being touched. It's another thing to do it when guys are draped all over your back. And the reality is I think early in the season we'll have enough pieces between Mike Evans, knock on wood, between Deshaun Stribling, between Tonjes, and even Kalen Black and Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield to suffice. Where it's going to be kind of nitty gritty time and where the road hits the pavement, as they proverbially say. The second half of the season, we play a lot of higher octane offenses, and I think we're going to need Kittle. So I would be very cautious with him, and I wouldn't, even if he's doing well, I probably wouldn't play him until probably week 6. But the fact that he's activated from pup after I've said all that tells me he's probably going to play in the first 4 weeks because otherwise they would
That
have just kept him on pup so that they could have had the extra roster spot.
that's what I was thinking. So with week one, I wouldn't even put him on the plane because he's not. If Kittle goes to Australia, we all know Kyle leans on his players. If Kittle goes over there, Kittle gonna play. I don't think you should play him. I don't think with him coming off this surgery, like you said, less than 8 months ago, you should even put him on that long flight. Leave him home. If you're gonna play him week 2, that's fine. I don't want to. I'm like you. I will hold him out until the Denver game. But I could see them wanting to play him Miami and Arizona a little bit to get his feet wet before he has to step in against that defense.
He's too important to the offense, and the reality is, as we start playing some of these teams that have dominant defensive lines, like Seattle and the Rams, the second time around, when the wins really start to matter, we're going to need that blocking tight end that can actually block. Because let's keep it a buck, Luke Farrell's not him. We don't
Nope.
have a blocking tight end on this roster that can actually block and move defensive ends other than George Kittle. So that alone tells me, hey, you know what? I need to be able to get moved in the running game, but I also need him. I also am going to need him down the stretch. So the reality is I think we have to exercise a little bit of caution here. But like I said, just knowing the Niners and how they operate and the fact that they removed him off the pup tells me there's probably a better chance than not that he plays in the first 4 weeks.
But you know who
He's
could move? You know who could line up and make some moves and get some guys off that line? Use check. Now, if because we I've seen use check line up kind of like in the backfield motion. It's like a tight end slot position, and and keep it where we can fool the defense. So I would say if Kyle's, like I would say Kyle's in his kitchen cooking up. If he's cooking up and he's gonna use check more, we all know use check can catch. And have him kind of like, hey, blocking running downs, motion out, go block a D in, or even from the backfield, go block the edge rusher or something like that. That's very possible. If that's the case, yeah, put that dude, put that dude on. He could. I'm not like you, Corey. He could travel because, like I said, he's motivated. He's like a guy we keep talking about on this show. He's like Max Crosby. Even when Max Crosby don't play, what he does? He coaches. He's on the
yeah.
sideline. He motivates.
No, you're right, and I agree with you. My issue with the travel is that long flight coming off Achilles surgery with all the swelling and all that. I
Oh
don't
man, he
want
about
him
to
on
be on the
that.
best of planes, man. He about to have the super recliner. with the
I don't think
massaging ankle chair, the whole
You
I don't
nine.
sure?
think
Because Jed might be running out. Never mind. That's later. Never mind.
Oh man, come on, Corey. Hey, listen, I don't think he's not running, he's not activated and running drills and running and cutting if they're still swelling. So the swelling's not the issue. Really what it boils down to is, do you think that you can take Kittle to Australia and basically, if George really wants to play, Hall of Fame first ballot tight end says, coach, I want to go in. Can you say no, you're not going in? Like that's
Kyle
the
can't.
reality. Right? That's the reality. Can you say no? If you can't say no, then you got to really think about this, about what's going to be best for him. As far as the use check comment, one of the friends of the program that's come on here and listened to our show before, and I know you know him, Corey, Jesse Naylor, Last Second
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Sports.
Yep. Yes,
He had
sir.
a really good breakdown of last week's footage, and specifically talked about how Braden Willis is really becoming quite the blocking fullback, right? Like
Yeah,
he really, the longest run we had last week on that McCormick run, it was Braden Willis that literally chip blocked and then got to the second level, climbed to the second level, and literally put the block that sealed the edge so that he could get out. And they're using him more and more in that role. So really what the question should be is, absolutely agree with you that Kyle Juszczyk is a much better catcher, but are you willing to pay $5 million to a fullback that catches 12 passes a year when you might potentially have a dude on the roster right now at a minimum that maybe doesn't give you half as much in the passing game, but is probably just as good a run blocker, which is really what you want out of a fullback. So I'm not 100% positive Juszczyk makes this team. Remember, it wasn't but a year ago that he got cut, and then they end up bringing him back, kind of a, hey, you know what, never mind, change of heart, we do actually like you. Like, I think they were going to move on from him last year. I think they liked Braden last year.
You know
So
better.
just keep
You
that in
know
the back of
better.
your mind.
You know better. The
Hey, I know
Cabo
he's part
click.
of the I know he's
Yeah.
part of the
You know
Cabo
better.
clique, but listen, I've talked to inside
yeah.
sources, and Braden is willing to go to Cabo. So, like, I've heard from people, he said he's willing to get the tan, he's willing to drink the Mai Tais, he's willing to go. So they just needs the invite.
The fact that George had Trent Taylor on this team for damn near a decade.
2 years. Well, no, I'm saying when he
Yeah,
came back this last time, like nobody else will take him. They're
Yeah.
like, you know what, we'll keep him for a couple of years.
And that's all because of George Kittle. They're not letting his George Kittle and his wife damn near cried when they cut Juice. Juice ain't going
Oh
nowhere.
yeah.
So I can see what Braden. I don't trust him. He's been
I
here a
trust him
couple
as a
years.
blocker. The
I, I,
film
I
yeah,
shows
he
he
still
can
does a good
block. I don't
game.
trust him as a catch. Listen, if he swings out of the backfield, I'm not sure he can catch the ball. But if
Yeah,
you're just saying, hey, Braden, 52, go put a hat on a hat, he's actually pretty athletic in the hole. And where a lot of like guards, and I granted, I know he's a ton smaller than them, but where a lot of guys struggle to get to that second level and to be able to actually in motion put a hat on a hat, he's actually pretty good at it if you watch the film.
well,
they're
then
breaking it. But you know
you
what? I'm
use
gonna
it.
say
No, go ahead.
the one thing that like I say, Braden, he's had a really good camp, but the one thing that he can't replace with use check, and I think that's gonna be the determining factor, right uphill,
Right. Or this.
right uphill. Yeah, that
So
too.
you so so
But
you so
but
you use them both because neither one of them can
you
do what
know,
Kittle can do. So you're gonna need both of them.
yeah.
But that's
But
what I'm
use
saying.
check,
They may use Braden. What the point of that was, even if they keep use check, I could see Braden being used more in a blocking role this year.
yeah,
I
of
think
course,
he makes
yeah,
a team. Which if you would have told me at the start of spring training, I would have said absolutely not. And I don't know if this is the topic later. I apologize, boys, but I think we're going to be surprised at how many roster shocks there are, because I'm going to tell you right now, I think probably 3 or 4 UDFA guys make this roster.
yeah.
Well, speaking of this roster, um, offense. I know y'all been high on some of the weapons we got. Is this gonna be the best offense Brock Purdy's ever had?
I like
Breaking news. I'm
You
gonna
want
let
to
you go.
I like to go
Go
breaking.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead, breaking news, because you
So
you the
so
you
this
the
one,
Brock Purdy guy.
yeah, so this one's hard because first of all, this is not the best acumen of weapons that Brock has ever had, right? Like we can all acknowledge that. But the thing is, part of when you ask that question, part of what you have to digest and take in and understand is, and I think it's been proven through this training camp, is Brock is light years better than he was 2, 3 seasons ago, right? And he's becoming more controlled. He's becoming a better leader. He doesn't put the ball in peril and as at risk as much. At least he hasn't this year. Even in the limited action we've seen in the preseason, he's been very decisive with the ball. And I think that that's by design. I mean, we all heard this offseason about how they've talked about, hey, we just can't have the errant throws. We can't have the gunslinger mentality. Like we're too good to just give up possessions when we need them. So what I would say is this: could this be the best offense that we've seen in the Brock Purdy area? I'm actually going to say yes, and for this one main reason. I think Mike Evans is the best red zone threat we've ever had during Brock Purdy's tenure because of the size, the acumen. How many times, boys, have we seen the Niners drive 80 yards down to the 5 and stall out and have to kick a fucking field goal? Excuse the language. There way too many times. Or we're trying to run Christian McCaffrey up the middle, on a 37 dive 3 times in a row, and he gains 2 yards and we needed three. It's like, dude, like you have a 6'5" wide receiver with 10.5-inch mitts and a 71-inch wingspan, and he's got a 5'10" corner guarding him. Just flip it up there, one on one, fade to the corner. He's going to come down with it. Literally, that's something Mike Evans has been absolutely a beast every single year from year one all the way until last year. That's something he's always been good at. Even if you want to say all the other stuff, hey, it's starting to fall off. So, because of that, if the Niners become substantially better in the red zone than they have been, I don't think there's any question they're going to move the ball. I mean, it's hard to imagine that last year, Christian McCaffrey, that was the first year he averaged less than 4 yards a carry, yet somehow our offense still ranked number 10 in the NFL. Like, think about that for a second. Your best offensive player, yes, he had over 2,000 scrimmage yards, but literally averaged less than 4 yards a carry, well below like the average in the NFL. Yet we still managed to be a top 10 offense. And I think that that in large part was because Brock is very efficient. We might go 3 yards, 3 yards. Brock picks up third down, 6 yards on third and four. What we need to get better at is the explosive plays on first and second down. And if we can do that, we have some weapons. Deshaun Stribling has looked really good in the preseason. As you guys know, not everybody loved the pick early on. I even said, hey, listen, I really like the kid. I don't know, but the hands have been sharp. He's caught 5 of 5 contested balls uh, in the preseason games. And that's really something you have to focus on because one of the things younger receivers struggle with is contested catches when guys are draped all over them. Like he's made catches in really tough situations, 3rd and 5, and he catches it for 6 yards over the middle. He's fearless. These are the types of situations that define between good to great. And I really do believe, listen, if Walking can take a little step forward, if Deshaun Stribling can continue to progress, and if Mike Evans can stay healthy, once again, all big ifs, I think this could be the best year because I think the Niners are going to be much more efficient in the red zone because I think we now have a running back that can clearly run between the tackles in Kalen Black. And Christian McCaffrey can be the piece that he should be, which is you put two running backs, put Kalen back there to pound the middle, and Christian can sometimes slot out as a slot receiver and let linebackers try to cover him one on one.
Go ahead, LG. I'll let you go before I get in here.
Uh, when you say best, I'm not gonna say best. I think this will probably be like breaking to say the most efficient offense. I think that just looking at if Mike Evans is healthy, CMC, Debo, we keep forgetting Debo's back, and he's already said he's willing to play running back. So you ain't no telling where he's going to line up at, what kind of trickery is going to come out of that. But if we have an offense, and like I say, with all the weapons that we have on offense, and it's not the, like you say, hey Brock, don't throw it into three man coverage. Hey Brock, live to fight another down, and we get a more efficient Brock. I think that we'll see, like those, like you say, those drives that stall out. Um, you know, we won't see as many of those. I don't even want to bring that dude name up. Uh, boneheaded missed field goals because the offense is stalled out. We won't see people missing 21-yard field goal chip shots just because the offense is moving more. But yeah, I think this would be a more efficient offense that we've seen in the Brock Purdy era, and this is what his going into his fifth year, right? Fifth year.
Yeah.
Um,
Think so, yeah.
this is when you really see quarterbacks take that next step up. Because the first 2 years you basically just playing off of talent. You don't really kind of know, offenses, what the defensive schemes are going to be. Third and fourth year, you kind of see a little bit more progression. But when you get into like that fifth, sixth, seventh year, is when you really start seeing quarterbacks take that. This is that Pro Bowl level. If he's already been a Pro Bowler, but now you start maybe seeing a All Pro level of a
He's
Brock Purdy.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
like listen, I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion, and I'm fine for taking the hate here. Everybody knows I love Brock, but like he's like borderline generational. If he was like 2 or 3 inches taller and his arm was, and it said, it said Montana, not that he was any bigger, it said Rogers on the back of his jersey. Like we wouldn't be having these conversations. We have these conversations because he was drafted in the seventh round, and the NFL has a hard time, like, like reconciling when they made a mistake. Like, hey, like 32 franchises passed on this dude at least 6 times each round, all the way up till the very, very end of the draft, right?
But then
Like,
I'll go even further. I go even further. It wasn't until Tom Brady's like 6th to 7th year till they start giving him some credit. They kept saying, "Oh, look at the defense he got. Oh, look at the running game he got." It wasn't
yeah.
until they got to that point that they start giving him credit.
And I think
Yeah.
Brock's going to be the same way, to be honest with you. Like, I'm going to let you speak, Corey, but just think about this. Everybody always said, well, it's the Avengers, right? It's the Avengers, right? Well, last year, his best weapon was a guy they didn't even resign. That's probably gonna be a number 3 wide receiver in Minnesota. Like he had nothing. He had no running game. He had a horrific offensive line. Like, and we're just being kind here. We all know that, right? When Spencer Burford's your starting left guard, you're in trouble. And yet, what did he do when he came in? Like he lit it up. And it's like I just hate the fact that because they're like, oh well, now it's because Shanahan. Like, look at that scheme, man. Like who couldn't be successful in that scheme? Like, I don't know, Jimmy Garoppolo, Bethard, Mullins, Hoyer. Like, I mean, I can go on. Like, there's been a lot of quarterbacks that weren't successful in that scheme. I mean, we've seen it. Like, we were here, we watched all these guys struggle on the struggle bus. But like the reality is that we have to understand that what Brock does at an elite level is the processing. And that's what makes this engine go. Like I said, his anticipatory throws, like nobody is gonna like mistake him for, Josh Allen, right? Like he doesn't have that kind of arm, but what he has is between the ears. He's an exceptional leader, he's an exceptional processor, and really, although he's not fleet-footed like Lamar or Josh Allen, I'd say he's just as good as at escaping the pocket and getting out of danger. I mean, he's proven that over and over again. Go ahead, Corey.
I'm 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 not doing this with you today.
Oh, go
Um,
ahead, man. Tell me how he's the 14th best quarterback. I don't care.
no, because I
Go
was
ahead,
sit-
man.
my whole point was getting ready to be giving Brock all this praise.
Then you should. It's
I'm
about
going
listen,
to, I'm going to,
listen,
but you
listen.
you 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 being too
Come
much
to
of
the
a
light.
homer.
Come to the
Dude,
light.
hey, hey,
Look,
look, I go even further, Corey, dude, and I'm not his biggest fan, but dude, think about it. Drew Brees, the Chargers literally said, "We like you, Drew Brees, but we're gonna draft a whole nother quarterback." And they were like, "You know what? Thank you, Drew Brees, but that
But
shoulder
Yeah.
may not be what he wanted to
but
be." And
but
Drew
but but
and
breaking
Drew,
news.
wait,
Use the
breaking
word.
news.
Go
Tell
ahead. Go
me,
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
breaking
ahead.
news. Now you tell me this, right? If Drew Brees was 6'5", would he have fell to what the second or third round?
Second.
Drew Brees fell to
The
the end of the second round.
second round. If he was 6'5", would he fell to the second round?
No.
No. Same
But
thing.
look. But that's
Wilson wouldn't have been there in the third, though. I mean, same thing. It's the same thing. Shorter quarterbacks, lighter. But go ahead. Go ahead, Corey. Tell me how I'm
you.
wrong because he's not a good
You
quarterback.
no. You use the word generational though. Why? Why can't we just say the
Hey,
man is
listen.
good?
Okay, you can say good, but listen, I think good is a disservice to how good Brock's been. Do you realize they just had this stat? And I know my man LG knows this because he's a stat freak like me. Do you know that they were just talking on ESPN about how Brock Purdy has 147 pass attempts that he needs to complete to hit 1,500. And when he hits 1,500, if he maintains his level of play, he'll be the highest rated quarterback in the history of the game. He is 147 quarterbacks shy of qualifying for that mark. That is ahead of guys like Aaron Rodgers, ahead of guys like Patrick Mahomes, ahead of guys like all these guys people want to put ahead of him. Listen, it's all because of the talent. All these people that are like, oh, Justin Herbert, he's way better. Like, bro, he's 0-5 in the playoffs. Like,
We're gonna
I
we're
understand
gonna
it's a
get into
team.
that.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I understand it's a team sport, but at the same time, stop looking at how much the guy benches and how tall he is, and look what he produces on the field. We've talked about this, but for the non-Niner fans, you can't tell me one time in the playoffs that Brock has not walked off the field giving the Niners a chance at a W, whether it's Super Bowl or anything else, and the Niners defense has quote unquote not blown it. The only game you can point to is last year against Seattle. And you know what? That was a complete beatdown on both sides of the ball. But literally Brock Purdy has always given the Niners an opportunity to win the game. Even in the Super Bowl versus Mahomes, it was the Niners defense that came up short. And they were supposed to be a la Tom Brady and the New England defense. They were supposed to be the unit that carried the team. And they couldn't. That's what happened. But go ahead. Tell me why he's the 18th best
Look,
quarterback.
look, man. I'm gonna say it like this: Brock Purdy is gonna prove that he's one of the top 10 guys, bar none. He's gonna prove that this year.
Wow.
Best
That's a
off,
big move. That's a move up
best
like 8
off,
spots, LG.
best offense. They're counting on way too many guys our age. It's not happening.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mike
Listen,
Evans,
Corey, I don't know how old the rest of you are, but I promise you, I'm the age of the coaches. If there's any player on our team my age, we're in trouble.
we're
Trent
normal.
Williams is not my age.
We're normal people. They're athletes. They age like dogs. Them dudes are our
Uh,
age in
uh,
NFL years. Mike Evans constantly hurt this offseason. Debo, by all intents and purposes, Debo, it ain't like he's been in training camp killing
no, no,
anything.
no, but
He's not
he's been healthy. That's the main thing. That's the
he's been
main thing.
healthy.
He's healthy.
Kittle coming off Achilles. Kittle, in my opinion, Kittle's gonna play, but Kittle's not gonna be Kittle this year. At no point, in my opinion, will Kittle be
Not
Kittle this
early,
year.
but
It's
he'll
definitely not early.
but he's going to help in the run game, which is really where we need it.
I hope so. Stribling,
Beast.
he's looked good in the preseason, but I mean, I remember a time where people were excited about Jalen Hurd in the preseason. Like,
You're such a Debbie Downer, dude.
I'm trying to be.
But
Look, I
listen,
want to be objective because once the season
listen
starts,
for
all
the
my
people.
objectivity's gone.
Listen, for the people in the back row, just hear me out real quick. I'm cutting into Corey because I got to do this. This is the same man that was literally texting the group chat, like literally panicking, like the Chargers tore up the offense. What now? And I'm like, well, actually, our offense held their own against their D. Then the game came, and they're like, well, that was just a game. Let's not worry about that. Just a
No,
game.
no, no, no,
Doesn't
no,
matter
no,
that
no,
we
no,
just
no.
completely bushwhacked them. And the reason why the
Yeah.
Chargers only had one series on offense is because they realized this ain't the same defense, and they don't want to make it look bad going into the regular season.
You're lying to the public.
That's pretty
The
close.
49 the
LG?
49ers the 49ers offense did not hold their own. They had a couple moments. By all intents and purposes, the offense got whooped, the defense got whooped. That was report from everybody. 49er
In
beat writers,
practice,
Chargers beat.
practice,
I That's the
practice,
point. You can control a
practice.
joint practice. And the fact that you couldn't control getting your ass kicked tells me that we
No.
got
But in the
problems.
game,
What did it, but listen, what
Who
did I
played
tell
in the
you?
game?
Okay, number one, listen, that's totally unfair because the same people that played in the game primarily are the people that played in joint practice. Bosa didn't practice joint practice. Joe Alt didn't practice joint practice. Bosa didn't play in the game. Joe Alt didn't play in the game. You know who played in the game? Herbert. You know who played in the game? Denzel Perryman. You know who played in the game? They had lots of starters that played in the game for most of the first quarter. And you know what happened? They got their ass kicked for a quarter. And you know what they decided real quick? We're going to get them out. And you know what? I'd be the first to tell you there's a very strong chance that maybe, you know what, Brennan Thompson probably someone probably said, hey, you know what, the next time when you got a beaten dog lying down, maybe you just don't say anything because they came out totally different in that game than they did in joint practice. You forget I live in an hour and a half from San Diego. I know somebody that was at joint practice. And what I heard was our offense versus their defense was fairly close until they got to in the move the ball period. Until they got to the red zone period, their defense was better than our offense in the red zone period, is what I heard. Their offense absolutely shattered our defense. But I was also told, and this is by somebody who's a Niner fan that was down there that has a press credential, that there was a lot of tinkering going on, like Stroman with the first team safeties. Like, we have to understand that sometimes in practice, like we've talked about this when we talked about the Titans, I go, hey, you're going to hear some weird things come out. Like, hey, maybe this guy's doing this. Jalen Duggar was a defensive end with the first team on joint practice. It's like we have to understand that sometimes, like maybe some of this is the coaches are trying to get certain looks and they don't necessarily give a shit what the final outcome is. Because the reality is them beating us in practice or us beating them in the game, neither one of them amounts to a W. Right. But the point was, I was so happy that the Niners did show fight in the game because I know what kind of a team we can be, but the national media literally like lost their minds because we lost in a practice. So I just want to throw that out there. Not all on you, Corey, but you did mention that you got a little worried there playing
Hey
against
man,
a good offense.
when they come out and they say Justin Herbert and threw for 30 touchdowns and Trey Lance looks like the number 3 pick in the draft against our defense, yeah, I got a little worried.
How did
But
Trey Lance look in the game?
for real, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Breaking news: I ain't even watched the game. I ain't
Look,
even watch it.
hey,
I ain't
Trey
even watch
Lance,
it.
Trey Lance needs an opportunity, man. I will say that he needs an opportunity.
Hey, I'm gonna
He ain't
tell
gonna
you,
get.
you know
He
what?
ain't gonna get it. He ain't gonna get it in L.A.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, like this. Trey Lance looked best when he was running, and that was similar to what he looked like
Yeah,
with us. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. He could run with the best of them. He kind of, and I hate to do this to this kid, but he kind of reminds me a little bit of Kaepernick. He's not as good of a runner, but
yep.
like when he runs, he kind of holds the ball far away from his body. And it's like he looks kind of at his first read. If it's not there, he goes. I actually thought the third string quarterback actually outplayed him, to be completely honest. But I also keep in mind that they're going against, maybe third string guys, or maybe they're going against guys that, might not even actually make the roster. But it was just nice to see our second and third string, and maybe even some fourth string guys really fight in the preseason and really show a little grit because, yeah, we did get our ass kicked in practice. But the reason I brought it up is because you know what? You're not judged by getting knocked down. You're judged by getting back up.
Well,
Hey,
look,
we put the
we
wood to him in the
we
game. That's all that matters.
little backstage news. That actually was a topic that y'all just completely jumped into.
Hey, we put the
So
wood to him in the
Hey,
game
so
though.
don't
That's
start
look,
all
telling me what the
that
topics are.
so look. Yeah, thanks, serious. I'm glad you put that up. So the topic was, should we be concerned? Well, damn, y'all done already answered the question.
Okay, so
So
are you concerned there, Corey? Because
nah, I ain't.
listen, I got a lot
I
more to
ain't.
say
matters.
about this.
I'm not concerned about the practice. My concerns is what they've been since training camp started, which is injuries. I'm not concerned about the practices because, like I said, that's controlled. Herbert went nuts. All right, Brock Purdy. Had, Brock Purdy was Brock Purdy. He had a little efficient day, but he had some receivers dropping passes. He had some.
Hmm.
He really hasn't thrown to his starters consistently all camp, which is my problem. Mike Evans in
He
and out. Kittle's not
he's
there. Christian
yeah.
missed 2 weeks. Like his guys haven't been there, and he's still been Brock Purdy. So,
But isn't that the mark? Listen, you like to use the word good, but I'm gonna keep saying it. Isn't that the mark of a great quarterback? Is no matter who comes in and out the lineup, you still operate like, isn't that what they always say? Like, hey,
and that
you should elevate the people around you, and that's what he's done. He's
and
literally
that's
taken
why
a dude like Deshaun Stribling, who's a guy that people scoffed that he was even drafted in the second round, and he's made him look good. He's made Watkins look good. He's made that dude hot. Like, I was watching the game, and I know you didn't, but LG, I'm sure you look. They picked up this dude Hodge, who's supposed to be a special teams guy, and I'm like, damn man,
Yeah,
we might need to make that guy our six wide receiver. He can
yeah,
catch. He
well,
can catch you some
but that's
contested
what
balls.
but that's why I said I feel like this year he's gonna prove that he is great. Like he is a great top 7, 8 quarterback. The issue is I feel like when we're on here doing the post game shows, it's gonna be a couple games where I'm definitely gonna say this, and I feel like we're all gonna say it
Listen,
eventually.
it ain't
Can
gonna look
y'all
pretty.
please help him? Yeah, can y'all
Yeah,
please help
it
Brock?
ain't gonna listen. It ain't gonna
Jesus.
be pretty. But you know the one thing I'm not gonna say. I'm just gonna tell you guys now because you know, listen, science is based off of evidence, and I've seen enough evidence from Brock to know he's a good quarterback. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
sit here and say he's not a good quarterback. I may say, hey, they need to give him more time. I may say, hey, he needs to make better decisions even when he's under duress. But the only way that Brock doesn't have a good season is if the Niners don't protect him. That's it. I'm telling you, if they keep that man upright, he's proven even with substandard weapons like Lash. That man came back from injury last year and led the number 7 offense from the time he got back till the end of the year. They were the number 7 offense under him with friggin' Jawan Jennings and others. Like, cause you didn't even know half their names. Most of the guys, like Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne was like
street guys, street guys.
street guys. That's what I'm saying. It's like he was literally playing with nobodies, and he was finding a way to succeed.
yeah. I won't come on here. I won't come on here. You won't hear me one time say Brock's not a good quarterback during the season. What you will hear me say is, "What the hell was Kyle thinking here?" Kyle, why would you like? I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's gonna be a lot of me pointing the finger at Kyle Shanahan
I'm good with
Bro,
that.
because
you know
because
That's what it should
when we
be.
exactly when we have bad games, it's usually because of decisions and spots he's put us in.
Hey, hey, they make bad.
what?
Listen, the players make bad plays. I'm all for criticizing the players. But if it's a bad play design, or you put the player in a bad position, that's 100% on the coaches. And you know what? There has been times, as much as people like to constantly, just basically stroke Kyle's ego, that I have thought in the past, like, hey man, you got outcoached. Plain
Yeah,
and
yeah.
simple. Like, especially quite a bit, like when we play Brian Flores defenses. I'm just like,
Or
you got
or
outcoached. Or
Seattle,
Jim Swartz. Or Jim
Seattle's
Swartz,
coach,
right?
Seattle's coach
McDonald, right? So there's
McDonald.
times, right? So there's times when we play elite defensive minded guys that it's like, I don't know if Kyle falls into these habits where he's too repetitive. I don't know what it is, but there is going to come moments this year where we're going to need to see we're going to need to see some expansion from this offense, and I hope between the investment that we made both in free agency and in the draft in weapons, both at the running back and the wide receiver spot, that they do get a little bit more creative. So I'm totally fine with seeing guys try different positions. I'm totally fine with seeing Carver Willis play, guard and center, and Colby playing both guard spots, and trying all these different combinations, because, hey, how do you know what your best 5 combination is at offensive line if you don't see it? Right? Like, go out
Yeah,
there and see it, because once game days start and once the record actually starts counting, I expect you guys to know this, because that's what you get paid for.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
And
gonna be
Corey, I hate to give other people credit like that, dude. But that's why I don't know if you watched when I put the Marcus Spears, what Marcus Spears said today in the chat.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
He was spot on, man. He was spot on. He was
Hey,
like, bro,
I rock with Swaggle. He
yeah.
usually is
Hey,
spot on. So
he was spot on. He said, man, these dudes have done more with less, more with less, and consistently have done more with less. Like
But but
you
Corey,
got to
but here's the
remember,
problem, LG. But I'm not disagreeing with you. But just to interject there, they have done more with less. But why have they had to do more with less? Because
yeah.
we're horrible at drafting. We
Well,
shouldn't have to do. If you think about what our classes have looked like from 2021 until 2024 in particular, there is literally a chance, depending on what the cut down looks like, there is literally a chance that we will have nobody from the 2021 or 2022 draft class on our roster. And that's the
wait a
first
minute.
contract this year.
Wait a minute. So you know what I'm gonna say with that, dude? Because this is just me. The first and second rounders, yeah, that's not like I say. I keep saying that's not what we make our bread and butter. At. Our bread and
you
butter is the
can't
middle round
you
Brother,
because
cannot live off that. You can't
you
live
can't
off that.
listen, I'm with you.
uh,
Listen, find me more George Kittles in the fifth. I'm all about that. But you can't miss on first and second rounders. You just
you
can't do
can't.
it.
Oh, you got to
You
trade them
can't.
away, one or two, like the
That,
Rams.
like,
Rams like
right.
screw them.
Either way, like at this point, it's like if you look at what the Rams did, think about this for a moment, right? Aaron Donald retired, and literally, if you guys remember, I know it's hard to remember back to that point, their offensive line and defensive line was crap, horrible. We were talking about the Rams being the basement dweller below the
Mm.
Cardinals, and if you look at what they did over the course of 2 seasons in replenishing both that offensive and that defensive line, it's incredible. The selections of Byron Young and Braden Fisk in the same
Fisk,
draft,
yep.
right? Like, I
Yeah,
mean, these dudes have hit consistently on first and second round picks. And so all I'm saying is, listen, if you get a surprise fifth rounder that like pans out, like, listen, that's money in the bank, right? Like that's extra. But you can't say, hey, listen, we're not going to do good in the first and second round, but listen, we kicked ass in rounds 4 and 5. Like that's great, but that doesn't make up for the fact that you're now paying, a 4 year, $24 million contract to a dude that's now a street free agent. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
but
that sets your team
yeah,
back.
but I'm just saying it from this standpoint. Like even like Mikael Williams, Mikael Williams actually started turning the page a little bit last year, and then he
That's
got
why I
hurt.
didn't say last year's draft. I'm
Yeah,
with
and then he
you.
got hurt.
I'm
But
not out on McKill yet. I still think that he
yeah,
can develop further. And I think ultimately, and this is just my opinion, but I think ultimately where I think he has the most success and he is going to be the best for us is actually inside a defensive tackle in pass rushing situations.
I don't think that's fair to do though, LG, because you bring up Mikael Williams, but you're not bringing up Alfred Collins, who has been in training camp getting
I'm
work.
listen. I'm okay with talking
no,
about him
Evan
too.
Collins
And
is
you know what,
amazing.
Alfred Collins,
For a rookie,
he
he
should
was
be
amazing
traded.
for a rookie.
But that's what
Yeah,
I'm
he should
He
be
saying.
was
traded.
amazing for you.
That's another early draft pick that we clearly looking at it as of now looks like a miss.
Looks like a
Nah,
miss.
he's had some really good moments as a rookie that I really think he just needs to progress a little bit more.
Yes, but
Um,
on in the pecking order, he is falling down the depth chart.
I think if we're being honest with ourselves, LG, really honest with ourselves, I think both Eason and Thompson, who are both undrafted free agents, have outplayed him in spring. And I think
Yep.
if we were really
yeah.
being honest and we weren't looking at the name on the back of the jersey or how much money we were paying them, I think Alfred Collins
Well,
would get cut.
well,
Just
I'm
being honest
saying,
with you.
I'm saying from this standpoint, when he actually played last year as a rookie, I don't care about spring
Well, he
today.
had impact. He did have
He
some
had
impact.
impact. He had impact. So
The
we don't
Rams game,
know.
big.
Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen with him once the season starts.
LG, he had impact. But the main thing you remember Alfred Collins for is the Rams game. We were one of the worst run defenses with him in the middle because he got pushed around a lot last year.
Hey, but he did save our butts when he came up with that forced fumble on the
But
goal line.
that's
Hey,
Yeah,
one
but that
play.
is, but Corey, but to play devil's advocate, it's also not fair to say our run defense was bad because of Alfred
It's
Collins.
yeah,
not because of
Our
Alfred
exactly that.
Collins.
our
I'm saying if you watch the tape, Alfred Collins got bullied a lot.
no, he wasn't helping the situation, but he was also a rookie. Our defense was bad because we didn't have the ability to penetrate. and to actually disrupt the passing. I know you said you or the lanes. I know Corey, you said you didn't watch the game, but LG, I'm sure you saw this. Like
Oh,
watching that game and watching Odigizua literally
yeah.
blow through double teams and get into the backfield, so the running back had to like cut right or left, and they didn't even want to. It's like the play's already blown up before it starts, right? So that was part of it, because if I'm running a sweep to the right and and I'm allowed to get to the edge like cleanly and easily, there's not a defensive lineman alive that's going to track me down once I get to the edge. The
Yeah,
problem is defensive linemen need to break the contain or break the gap and literally power through and force that run back to the middle. Like
And
we all know how
I'm
football works, and we
yeah.
have that this year. And listen, I hope Alfred can do that, but everything that I've seen to this point, I think he's probably the worst defensive tackle we have on the team. I'm just being honest. I think he's our worst defensive tackle. I like Odigizua. I like
it,
Eason. I like Thompson. All better than him.
But
but here's the piece.
I would even
if
take Sebastian Valdez at this point over
if
him.
he's your
Oh,
worst defensive tackle and you need, like you say, you need depth, are you okay with him playing on game day? If guys
No,
get injured,
I think if we're being honest, I don't know who would trade for him, but I think if we're really being honest, I
yeah.
think package him and someone else to go get a defensive end, because I think we all understand that our biggest priority right now, and there's going to be guys available obviously at cut down, but our biggest issue right now is that we have no pass rush. And I don't want to hear anything from the other people talking about how
Hey,
we just wait till Bosa gets back, because the reality is he's going to be rotating in and out as well. He's coming off a knee. We need to be able to get a pass rush without him,
hey,
right?
but I
I
breaking
will
news. I
tell
did
you,
watch that game, and I'm starting to become a Romello hype fan. I'm starting
the thing with
and
Romello though
he's
is
been one of the
to.
worst looking rookies all off
yeah,
season.
you can't really play him on early downs. Like if we're being
No,
honest, he gets
pass rush only.
bullied,
Pass rush only.
bullied. He is quick off the snap, but the problem is, like literally, all they got to do is just run right at him, and he's going to get blown off the line of scrimmage by like 8 yards.
But that's what I'm saying. But he's more of situational for pass
Right,
rush.
which
But
means he can't start. We need guys that can start and or play in a heavy rotation on first, second, and third downs.
none of this matters if Nick Bosa is not healthy. None of it matters because Nick Bosa not only is a pass rusher, but Nick Bosa can set the edge. Nick Bosa is a hell of a run defender.
Yeah,
None of this matters. Our D line goes from decent to average to without Nick Bosa below average. That's just what it is. And not
Well,
enough people. I agree with that comment. I think Bosa's done. They're saying tendonitis. I think Bosa is trying to hold us up for more money because he knows his knees they ain't never gonna be right again. I think we should have cut bait with Bosa a year or two ago. You could have got a lot for him. I don't know when we going I don't think he's gonna be healthy all season. Which means
yeah.
we need to figure out DN even more now. You need a couple DNs.
yeah,
Well, I think the reality is, listen, we have the finances, the cap space to be able to do so. I do think that Bosa is going to be able to help us this year. There is plenty there is plenty of history on guys as they get older, aging stars that don't want to subject their body to a ton of training camp, right? He gets out there, he tests his knee and goes, "Yep, it's working, it's good. Why am I gonna, go up
But
against these youngsters trying to prove?" Listen, but for what it's worth, Corey, just hear me out. They said the same thing about Christian McCaffrey, right? Oh, he's holding out for more money. He's got tightness. Oh, we're right back, and he's back in practice.
I'm gonna
So
tell you like
all I'm
this.
saying,
I'm worried about McCaffrey. I don't know how you
no,
couldn't be.
listen, I'm not saying to not be worried about him. What I'm saying is, literally a week ago, 1 week ago, we were having the same conversation about McCaffrey. Everybody was saying, "Oh, listen, he's holding out again." Like national media, everybody. I'm not saying you, but you know what I'm talking about. They were literally saying he's doing the same thing. He's now not practicing. He got stiffness, this and that. What I'm saying is he's now back at practice. What I'm saying
Yeah.
is also keep in mind when you're an aging star, you don't necessarily need the same amount of practice reps, right? that you did when you're trying to make the team. You also don't need to go at 100 miles an hour like a lot of these undrafted guys do that are trying to make the team. And if you think about all the offensive linemen of all the positions, think about all the assets and all the roster spots that we have given to offensive linemen like tackles and guards, just trying to figure out a combination. It's like, I'm not saying this is the reason, but I'm just saying, think about the fact that if I'm Bosa, right, like, and let's say I'm Doug Kramer and I'm playing tackle, and I'm like, dude, I can make my name right here just by when Bosa tries to get around me, just driving his ass into the ground, right? Like that's how I'm going to make a name for myself. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying it's the truth. I'm just saying something to consider. If it becomes week 1 and he doesn't play, listen, we can have this conversation. As for now, I think it's just as likely that, similar to Trent Williams, that he is just ensuring his own health, and he's only going to go when he needs to.
So this does not at all to you feel like 2 years ago with Christian McCaffrey when they kept saying he's healthy, he's fine, he's gonna be there, and then game time got here and McCaffrey was
Yeah.
done. That's
Listen,
what this feels like to me.
it listen, and you're right to feel that way. And listen, the one organization that I would never trust when they come out and give you a medical evaluation is the Niners. 100%. Right? It's like, oh, it's a
Facts.
little stiffness in his neck. You find out that he like
Yeah.
broke 2 vertebrae in his neck and shit. So I get that. But like I said, I also think with as many, listen, this is the age of technology. You're telling me it's been like 2, 3 weeks. You're telling me if there was a contract dispute going on or if there was something more severe, you're telling me with all those beat writers and all the, like, him being a superstar, you're talking national media attention. You're telling me you don't think that we would have had more information that would have leaked out by now?
But that's the thing. There are a lot of beat writers that are saying all Bosa's done is a couple individual drills, and then he was done and he couldn't go no more. Bosa hasn't touched 11 on 11, not one rep.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not okay with Bosa not doing 11 on 11s after not playing at all last year, really, and showing up in Australia week 1, and we're saying he's ready to go, and he really hasn't played football in a year.
Who said
That's
he's
Right.
my
gonna? Who said
issue.
he's gonna play week 1?
Bosa, Shanahan, they've all said it.
I mean, they saying it, but
Lynch.
my
No,
thing.
no, you know, but you just said who
No,
said he
they
gonna play
have
week 1.
they they
I'm
they
telling you
have
who
they
said it.
have said that he's gonna be available for week
He's
1.
gonna be
They
available, but
have
then
said that.
who said he's gonna be on not on a pitch count? I think he's gonna be on a pitch count and
He
coming off
gotta
of
be at this point.
yeah,
But
he
on a
gotta
pitch
be.
count, but on a pitch count, look, this is the same thing we was talking about with Kittle going over there. Kyle Shanahan, we all know, all right, it's week 1. It's a division game. It could hunt us in the end of the season, of the season, but week 1 is not the end all be all. That's not our whole year.
No,
That's how, but we know that Kyle Shanahan does not want to go to Australia and lose to the Rams. Yeah,
I mean,
Bosa's going to be on a pitch count. Yes,
yeah,
we've
put both
had
on a pitch
players.
count.
Hold on, though, we've had players on pitch counts, and as the game goes on, that pitch count disappears.
We
That's not a
have seen that.
49er. That's not a 49er thing. That's a pro athlete thing. The
Yeah,
pitch
but
Yeah,
it's
count
kind of,
disappears.
listen, if we're being a buck, keeping it a buck here, that is kind of a Niner thing. Be like, no,
Yeah.
we're
but
only going to use Christian 200 snaps. It's like 473 carries later. Be like I'm sure you guys heard the story that recently came out where Christian in the playoffs came out because he was like, man, I'm winded, and Shanahan, it was like third down. Shanahan's like, hey, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm tired. And he's like, no, get out there, man. I wanted to call a passing play, and you're involved. Get out there. And it was a wheel route that ended up going to him. But it's like you can't you can't rely so heavily on one guy that you just completely disregard all the other players at that position. And I feel like the one area that maybe we're not, to get off the defensive end, because I definitely want to keep that front and center, and I'm going to get back to that. But we have to understand, and I think the Niners have realized it takes more. It takes more than having a few superstars to win
yeah,
consistently. That you have to have depth. And the one thing I would say is, did you? I know you didn't watch the game, but LG and maybe the people in the chat, Agbo Akarakwo, dude,
yeah.
that dude looks
I like,
legit.
yeah, I
And
like that
he's
dude.
and he's a legit player. He's played on other teams. He's had, I believe, either 7.5 or 8.5 sacks. Keon White. I'm still waiting to see. I thought he did great things last year, but the reality is I know he got shot in the foot or whatever, and it's like we're waiting on
Yeah.
him. Listen, Sam O looked fantastic in the game. We know what we're going to get from him, which is average production at best. He's a guy that could fill in for Mikael Williams if you needed him, but we don't have like a difference maker defensive end, especially if Bosa doesn't
We
play
didn't
like you
even get
said.
like a guy like a Clowney or something. Clowney still had a little juice in the tank, or like
Clowney's in Houston.
I
yeah, he's
think what
or
I
like
think what's much more likely, and I know the beat writers have said this, but just given if you look at all the players that we have picked up over the course of the last few months, and you look at the fact that they almost all have some kind of tie to Raheem Morris, including this recent trade,
yeah.
Deion Jones, the linebacker,
We're
I
gonna
think
get
it's
into that.
much
Yep.
more likely that we go get Leonard Floyd
Well, see,
because he
I thought we would have
knows
got Miller.
Raheem
I thought
Morris's
we would have got
system
Von Miller.
very well, and he was with him in Atlanta and with the Rams.
Well, look, but every name y'all have mentioned, and all I can talk about is week one because that's what we're working to. Not one of them players gonna touch Matthew Stafford. Not one of them. Without Bosa, not one of those guys is
Well,
touching Matthew Stafford.
here's what I would tell you. This is just my thoughts, could be wrong, but here's what I would tell you. We didn't put up much pressure last year. We all know that. We were league low in sacks at 20, right? And we split with them. We went 1-1. One of the games,
That's
obviously.
not
Hold on.
hold on. No, no,
Set
no.
the full
I
picture.
got
I'm not
yeah.
done. I'm still
I
going.
all right. Go ahead.
You
Go ahead.
can
Go ahead.
rebuttal. Just let me finish.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We went 1-1 with them. One of the games our backup quarterback played, right? So all I'm saying is we always assume that the pressure has to come from the edges, right? But if we get the kind of push that I believe we can get from the middle, remember that Matthew Stafford is not Lamar Jackson. He's not escaping the pocket and like running towards the sideline delivering the ball. So if Odigizua does what he's been doing in both practice, joint practice, because the one thing that did come out of Chargers camp, and I'm sure Corey, even you saw, was they did mention, even though the defense looked horrific, that Odigizua was consistently a pain in the middle and getting pressure on Herbert. So if we can get penetration up the middle, especially as Thiz is saying here, at the point of attack, straight up the middle, that is the best pressure you can get on an older, aging 38-year-old quarterback.
Yeah.
And so, although I still think we have work to do on the edges, if you were to tell me right now, hey, you can have, I don't know, you can have one guy in your line have 12 sacks, and it's like, would you rather that be Bosa or a Diggy Zua? I'd rather it be a Diggy Zua. I'd rather us consistently
Yeah.
be getting pressure up the middle, especially when you consider Sam Darnold, not exceptionally mobile, Matt Stafford, not exceptionally mobile, Brissett, not except. I mean, I'm just talking about the guys in our division right now, but it's like none of these guys are exceptionally mobile. Yeah, some of the playoff quarterback teams might be mobile, and I do think there's work to be done. But there's also a trade deadline coming up. Go ahead, Corey. Rebut.
Hey, breaking news. I was gonna tell you, dude. Remember Jalen Carter? Jalen Carter had Matthew Stafford looking real
He
shaky up that
did.
middle.
He did.
Up
Because
that
that
middle.
pressure up the middle, is hard to overcome, which is the reason why the Giants beat the undefeated New England Patriots that year when the Patriots were unbelievable because Tom had no time to throw and he's got the escapability of me right now in my 40s.
Hey man,
Like the man
don't start
couldn't
there
get
because
out of the way.
I'm in Houston and CJ getting a whole lot of criticism, but that pressure right up the
Okay,
middle has
we
been a
we got we got
pain.
we got Corey covered. Corey, tell me how I'm wrong. Listen, I'm not saying listen. If they traded tomorrow for Max Crosby, cool, but I'm still telling you we're better with pressure up the middle, and Matthew Stafford ain't avoiding the rush. That's all I'm saying.
I don't feel like we're better up the middle. I just don't. I
What?
understand. I understand.
Than
I
last year?
understand. I don't feel like it's gonna be that much better. I'm just telling you. You're naming one guy. You've been around this game long enough to know we can take away one guy. We can take him away.
You can take away one guy, but the problem is if you consistently double team one guy, which by the way, just go look at your PFF grades. Odigizua still had the best grade versus double teams. He was a top 5 grade in the entire league, breaking double teams. So I'm just saying, it's not just that he's good. He almost had as many pressures last year as the entire Niners defensive line. He had over 50 pressures from the defensive
Y'all,
tackle position. So here's what I'm
y'all
saying.
go, y'all,
Listen,
y'all
I'm
go
not
to the
saying,
extreme on here.
I'm not, how is that the extreme? I'm telling you
Hold
exactly
on.
what happened.
No. I'm gonna tell you where the extreme is. It ain't
Go
got nothing
for
to
it.
do with what you just said.
Okay,
It's
go
the
ahead.
fact that LG mentioned Jalen Carter and you mentioned the Giants against Tom Brady. That is the extreme. We don't have these things. We just don't. Yes, and you brought up the fact that we split with the Rams last year. Matthew Stafford made love to our defense in both games. The Thursday night game, Sean McVay did
Right.
everything he could to let Kyle Shanahan win the game.
But if you're gonna do that, you also have to be fair and say that both Mac Jones, a backup quarterback, and Brock Purdy did the same thing to their defense. Now, granted, I know that they got better at the corner position. Listen, I'm not
Just the
gonna,
corner? Just the corner?
well, listen, a D line, yes, but I'm saying at the corner position, but they didn't get better at the safety position. They got worse. One of their starting free safeties left the building. The linebackers are basically the same unit. And where could the Rams be attacked? The middle of the field. Where
But
do the
you're but
Niners like to attack? The middle of the field.
but you're changing the whole argument because
I'm
I
not changing
haven't
the
once
argument.
hold on. I haven't once talked about what our offense did against their defense. Our whole conversation was
Okay.
about our defense not getting pressure.
Okay,
And
fair enough.
my argument is that has not changed.
Okay.
Odiggy Zua, yes, he was good against the double team. He can get you sacks. He also wasn't the only defensive lineman that people were worried about in Dallas. He had help. He don't have help in San Francisco right now. He just
I
don't.
think I think we have to also acknowledge the fact that, especially because he went out before the second game, I think we have to also acknowledge the fact our linebacker situation is light years better right now. Now I understand injuries could take place, light years better than it was during that game. Right? We all
Oh,
know
I
Fred
definitely
Warner,
agree with you.
Fred Warner, and Dre Greenlaw are two of the best blitzing linebackers in the league. Right? Being able to get pressure, so you can use them in creative ways. They can also drop in coverage. So once again, I don't want to sit here and act overly optimistic. If you were to sit here and be like, I could say all this stuff and be like, hey, the Niners going to win week one. No, I think the Niners I think the Rams are absolutely favored. Do the Niners need more pass rush? Absolutely, they need more pass rush. But I also think we have to be honest with ourselves and to sit here and say they're no better than they were last year after Bosa left. Like, come on, like that we're selling
No.
false goods if we're gonna go that far.
But look, this is and LG, I'll let you up in here after this. This is and I'm saying this because this is gonna be our first year doing this. We're gonna do post game shows. And I'm letting you know I'm being objective in the off season because when the
Okay.
season starts, I have two modes. The sky is falling, or God damn it, you can't stop us. That's
The
our
sky
two
is
modes.
falling. Hey, either the sky is falling or the
Or
other
you
teams
can't
are
stop
falling.
us.
the
Yeah,
the
exactly.
sky is falling tonight.
There's
The
no
sky
in
is
Hey,
falling
between for
tonight with
me.
this dude.
either the Niners are great or the sky is falling.
That's
No
and I
middle.
want y'all to
No
be
middle.
prepared for
No
that.
middle.
You're gonna
Hey,
have
listen.
breaking news. You're gonna have to talk me off the ledge damn near every week
Hey, listen.
during the games.
When we say like, hey, we got a panic alert button, 1 to 10, 10 being all panic, one being not panicked at all. I'll be like, Corey, where you at? He's like, 10, 10.
10, 1.
10.
Ain't no 2, 3, 7, 8,
We
10,
don't even have the
1.
middle numbers. All right.
So
So let me ask you guys this: we got 70 million, right?
okay.
And LG, I'm gonna let you jump in, but just hear me out, LG. We know there's several teams. Literally, you can go look at this right now over the Cap Hill. You can look Sports Track. You can look at any of this. There's several teams that are currently over the cap right now. We know that there is going to be quality defensive ends that are going to get released for cap reasons, that'll be out there available. I think even if the Niners have to say, hey, you know what, I'll trade you a sixth or a seventh for him just to not have to fight with everybody else, go get it done. But let's say we don't get the marquee guy, but let's say we get one or two guys that posted 7 or 8 sacks last year. Is the sky no longer falling, or is it still falling because you think Bosa might be done?
I'm still
Because
nervous
remember,
because
Remember, we won 13 games last year with basically no Bosa the whole season.
But our schedule was weaker than it's going to be this year. This year's schedule
I
is a little tougher. It's a little
I don't think
tougher.
it's I don't
I
I
mean,
don't
it's
think
on
it's that
paper.
much tougher
It's on paper.
because
It's
here's
on
the
paper.
thing. I think Seattle was a much better team last year than they are year, and we can obviously we've went over the schedule, but I think one thing that people are wildly underestimating is how good what's the Raiders head coach's name? I'm
Oh,
drawing a blank.
Kubiak. Kubiak.
Kubiak, thank you. I think people are wildly underestimating how vital Kubiak was to their offensive success. And remember, they hired a first-time coordinator. He was our tight ends coach.
Yeah, I
So
give you that.
remember, so I'm saying, remember, they got a first time, and and the running game is basically going to be led by a rookie. And now you're going to have a lot on Sam Darnold's shoulder, who, by the way, led the league last year in interceptions.
Oh yeah,
Right?
Sam gonna throw you a few, but I'm gonna tell you like this. This is
Yeah.
the first time I've said this all season, and I know it's been big with LG. We have now seen training camp. We have now seen this man's knees are just fine. Go get Max Crosby.
Yep.
Max Crosby is out here
Hey,
terrorizing and beating up Kirk Cousins.
breaking
Yeah,
news.
that was
Break.
Like,
that was actually I was pretty impressed with that, to be honest with you.
go
And then
get
even
him.
afterwards, did you see him? Did you see him during the game over there talking with Mendoza, kind of patting him on the head, trying to
Yep.
give him even as a completely different unit, just being a leader on the team and taking the guy who's going to be the heir apparent and just being like, hey, shake it off, you're gonna be good. Like that throw he made over the middle was ridiculous. I know, he didn't have a lot of completions, but to have a dude like Max Crosby that can do that and kind of cross that offensive defensive barrier and just walk up to him, that should have been Kurt. That's what I was thinking in my head. That should have been Kurt. But instead, it's your defensive captain, really the leader of the team, walking up and saying, "Hey, don't worry about it. We're good." Da 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 da. But I'm with you.
Go
I've
get him.
seen enough. I've seen enough, and I know everybody's like, "Oh, the price ain't this." I give up a first right now. Just go get him.
Yep.
Give a first, whatever you got to do. I don't care. Just go give him a first. Give him a first, and Alfred, whatever it's going to take to get it done, and get it done because we need another defensive end. If you whether Bosa's here or not, we
We
need
still
another
need it.
defensive end.
Yeah.
Right.
Breaking news.
Yep.
I'll go even further. You just hit it on the head. You was like, dude, these teams you're gonna get closer to training camp, and you're gonna see some guys that they didn't budget for, and Max falls right in there. The Raiders
Yeah.
only got $4 million, $4 million, and I know they don't like to do business, but like, hey, y'all would
Well,
love to have that money come off the books because $4 million
absolutely.
is basically you're over the cap.
Yeah,
If
and not
you
only that, but they have. If you looked a little bit, they have positions right now that they're not
yeah,
completely set on unless they're just basically packing in the season. And I don't think they are.
I
You
don't think
can't
they are
make
too,
moves like Linderbaum. You can't make moves like
like
they've made,
Cousins.
bringing in Kirk Cousins and all
Cousins.
this, and then be like, yeah, it's a lost season. So it's like, I still think they have moves to make. And if you're going to try and make moves, you got to clear some salary. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like you said, Max Crosby is a good way of doing that. But everything I've heard, and I'm sure you guys have heard the same, I've heard that Dallas is still in the hunt for Max Crosby, that they haven't given up, that they haven't cut negotiations, and
But
that
they
they're
don't have
still
money.
willing to trade.
They don't have money. The only way I would say that they would have money is unless the only guy that ain't got paid is really on the market.
Who that?
That's the only way.
Pickens.
Yep. Because Wisconsin don't have money. They don't have money.
Jerry Jones will find it.
I
If
mean,
the
you gotta make
Raider,
the
if the
numbers work.
Raiders, if
They
the
do get
Raiders are
creative.
willing,
They do get pretty creative over
yeah,
Getting
there. They
credit.
they do some
But like I
creative
say,
stuff.
you gotta, and that's why I always say you gotta beat your opponents to the punch. If you ever play fantasy football with me,
Yep.
I strongly believe in beating your opponent to the punch. But like I say, that's wishful thinking. I'm gonna say right now, Corey, that I'm looking at the assessment over the years of what we've done with the guys that we've had in place. Um, and even if we don't get the pass rush, getting Warner back is huge. If you guys look at that defense last year, just having Warner on the field was absolute game record, right?
I
And
also think. I also think
Look, look,
LG, just to play off you, and then you could keep going. Is don't underestimate how important
Drake
Stevie
May.
depth is. No, no.
Yeah.
Think about how many teams pull out 3, 4 wide receiver sets versus us, and
Oh
how
yeah.
often the third corner is. Think about how nice it is to not have to worry that Daryl Luter's going to trot out there. That will have Jack Jones, or we'll have Price
Yep.
Hawk, or one of these guys that actually breaks up passes.
A
Like,
stout.
I mean, we all know
Stout.
that basically Daryl Luter went out there and it was like an instant L. It was rough to watch. I mean, I like the guy, but we have to understand like the primary. It's like, hey, what's the primary skill set of being a corner? To cover. Like you
Cover.
got to cover. And I don't care how fast you are, because they're like, oh, well, this guy's a little slower. Like my eyes tell me that he covers better. So
Yeah.
we got to be able to cover, and that is something that I do think we're going to be better at. Go ahead, LG.
One of
What's
your
Sorry.
that?
one.
He haven't even played. His groin has been messed up. Nate Hobbs hasn't played yet.
Yep,
A
he
pretty
can
good
play.
corner. And like I said, dude, I think that this is a defense, and I'm just going off of historical. This is a defense that historically can can be good without pressure. This is a defense that, you know, we all seen this defense before where it's like bend but don't break. Does that make
It's
sense?
hard though because we got a new
But
defensive coordinator, so we got to
yeah,
we
and
got
I
to be
get it,
honest
who
with
and I get
ourselves.
it.
also has never had a great defense.
Right, but
Yep,
listen. Here comes the optimistic portion again. He hasn't. You're listen. I'm a keep it straight, Corey. You're right.
yeah.
He hasn't. They're usually rated right around the middle of the pack or lower. But if you look at the two areas he's always good at, sacks,
Turnovers.
sacks, and turnovers.
Yep.
Those are
Yep.
the two areas. If you look at his defenses historically, year over year, the two things that he creates is negative plays. So,
Yep.
like right now, we're complaining about, oh, I don't know how we're going to get sacked. I don't know how we're going to do this. Well,
Win the turnover
just
battle.
keep in mind, if you win the turnover battle and
Battle.
you make it third and long, you typically good things happen.
And hey, look, and I'll even go further, and y'all gonna think I'm joking. Um, top seven offense, middle of the pack defense can win you a lot of games in this league.
The
A
issue
lot.
is the issue is, and we was having this conversation earlier. Best offense Brock Purdy's ever led. It's not. I don't think it's going to be rated that high because I think Brock's going to constantly be missing guys that he needs. We don't have the Avengers no more, and Brock did a lot with less last year. But it's not fair to think that he can continue to do that and have the expectation of him doing that.
I think it's going
Corey.
to be, but the area, Corey, that I think we could absolutely see monumental improvement, and I think we could all agree in, is, and maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but from what I've heard from training camp and what I've seen, I think our running game is going to be a lot better between Kalen Black, um, James, and McCaffrey. I think I've seen enough to tell me the running game's going to be better. And as you boys know, if the running game's better, that means play action is better.
Do you
And
do you think
go
the
ahead.
running game is going to be better because of the backs? Because
I think the
our offensive line is
I
the
think
reason why the running game was
I
trash.
think I think the running game is better because from what I've seen to this point, I think our offensive line will be better this year. We got another year in the saddle for McKivitz. I think he actually is he's approaching that level of really good, right? Like he's not there, but he's not somebody. If you looked at the top 20 teams in the league, there's lots of teams in that top 20 that would be happy to have a right tackle like McKivitz. He's not somebody that's hurting you per se. He can be at times a little rough against speed rushers, but ultimately he's not hurting you. I think the biggest improvements you're going to see is I think we're actually going to be quite a bit better at left guard, and I think you're going to see a massive improvement at right guard because, like we talked about, Pooney was hurt for a lot of last
Pony
year,
is healthy. Yep.
and I think that you're going to see. Remember, year three, he's been able to work out all off season. I think you're going to see that Pooney is much closer to the guy he was his rookie year than he is in year two, and I think he's bigger and stronger. And I think Trent knows this is the final hurrah. And I think Trent wants to go out in style. Like Trent doesn't want to go out giving up 12 sacks. I mean, come on, let's be honest. He's too prideful for that. And I think any guy you put there at left guard, like just being honest, whether it's Robert Jones, whether it's Carver Willis, I just feel like just from what I've seen to this point, I think they're all better than Spencer Burford. I really do.
Yeah,
So it might not be monumentally better, but I think there's a slight uptick in the offensive line. But I think the real improvement is the backs. I think Kalon Black is light years better than
Yeah.
Garindo. I think
right.
McCaffrey looks actually faster and better than he did last year at this time. Because remember, he was coming off that weird leg thing. He's trying to get back into the swing of things. I don't think he got to do all his bear crawling and all of his weird exercises through the off season, if we're just being 100% honest. And I think if you got somebody like James as your number three back, like you could do a hell of a lot worse. He's really good at catching out of the
Breaking news, but
backfield.
is he gonna be the number 3 back?
I know a lot of people are saying that he's probably going to be the two. I just don't see it. When you watch
No,
the
no,
games,
no.
Kalen
You know
hits
where
the
I'm going with
hole
this.
like
You know where I'm going with this, bro.
oh, you think you don't make the team? You
No,
think
no,
I
no,
said
Cincinnati
I
no.
said
Hornets
that
or
I
a couple
think
somebody?
weeks ago.
no. I think the number 3 back is Debo.
Nah.
I think Debo would be the number 3
I
back.
think especially with the injuries, just keeping it a buck with you guys, I think Debo's too valuable in the passing game. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, I think
If
he's gonna
if
be
Kirk
valuable in the
wasn't
passing game.
injured, if
But
Evans
Kyle,
wasn't nicked up, if I mean listen, if you go down the list, think about all the wide receivers right now that are nicked up. I think there's a very strong chance that Debo, you could see a scenario, and I hope not. But I think there's a very good case right now to be made that you could see Deshaun Stribling and Debo as your 1-2 to start
but
the
I'm saying
season.
I'm saying it from this standpoint. He going off historicals. I like to look at historicals.
Yeah, yeah.
Kyle loves to use Debo in the backfield.
He's not that Debo
And
no more.
Debo it was so hesitant he did not want to play running back. And for him to come out and say he's willing to play running back, I think that they're gonna put in some packages where he's gonna probably be that not, 10, 12 carries a game, but he's probably gonna be that third back getting 3, 4 carries a game.
I
And two
think
out of those three, two out of those three, or three out of those four will be wasted downs.
the
He's not
problem
that
the
Debo.
problem with that LG, and you're probably right, right? Like let's just concede your point that he's quote unquote the number three back. The problem is when you're really looking at your number one, two, and three running back, really what you're looking for is your number three back is if your first or second string guy gets injured, that they can come in and take that workload. Debo can't do
Well,
that.
well,
He's a gadget guy. Let's keep it a buck.
and let's keep it.
James James is the only one out of those two, right? Debo and him, that can
Well,
handle
breaking
10
news.
carries up the middle, that can
No, no,
catch
no,
out of
breaking
the
news.
backfield consistently.
But you know what I'm gonna tell you, and I'll go even further with it. Your number 3 back is your third down back. And would you rather have Debo as your third down back or James as your third down back?
I
Christian's your
listen.
third down back.
I was just gonna say
No.
I love Debo as the quote unquote third down back, but we all know in San Francisco, I'm just praying that they give Kalon Black 150 touches. Like
Fact.
Yeah, me too.
we
I
all
definitely would
know.
love it.
No, but my point being is we all know that like in traditional NFL, like you have your 1-2 and then your third back, it's your third down guy, this and that. But we also know with Kyle, who's your first down back? Christian. Who's your
Christian,
second down back? Christian.
Christian,
Who's your third down back? Christian. Who
Christian.
do you want punting the ball? Christian. Like
Christian.
he wants to use that dude for everything, and you
But
just can't do that.
historically, he's used Debo in those positions. And I'm not saying that he's gonna be as heavy handed as he was in previous years with
Right.
Debo, but I think he's gonna cook up some packages for Debo,
But
and
why does
you'll see more
I hope
Debo
I hope you're
lining up in the
wrong.
backfield.
I hope you're
I
wrong because
listen?
his love for Debo is why we lost that last Super
No, but
Bowl. So I
listen, the
hope you're wrong.
reason why, boys, the reason why those packages with Debo work, think about this. So Debo was the starting wideout, right? So why do those packages work? So they call out, hey, they're in,
Yeah,
three wide, one wide receiver, right? So they're in 11 personnel, right? So they got three wide receivers. And so you trot out the appropriate nickel or dime defense, right? Because you got three wide receivers. All of a sudden, Debo lines up in the backfield and Christian is like in the slot or is in the tight end. So now it's already created a mismatch because I've got 6 DBs on the field when the reality is I wish I had 3 or 4 linebackers. You know what I'm saying? That's the
and
problem. If you use him as your
and
third down back and
definitely.
Christian comes off and it's just Debo, it's a totally different look.
And that's what Kyle loves to do. Kyle loves to create mismatches. And I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it from a traditional third down back.
He'll be a
Third back.
gadget guy for sure.
He's gonna be the gadget guy, and I could see the picking order in carries, and or just picking order in carries or lining up in the backfield. I could see, of course, CMC is gonna be first. I could see Kalon being second, but I could see Debo getting more carries than James gets. I
If
could,
that
I could see
wait.
that.
happens,
I could
if
see
that
that.
happens, something I'm going to be honest with you guys. If that happens, and you may not be wrong, but something has went terribly wrong. The one thing that I do think that we have to acknowledge is like Corey has mentioned it. I've heard other people mention it about Debo's lost it right or lost a step or he's not the same guy. Like, remember, Debo had like 800 yards receiving last year, and he
Yeah,
still was in the top 15 in Yak.
yeah,
So
But when
where
I
Debo brings his value, one sec, Corey, and I'll
go
give it to
ahead.
you. The one thing that Debo does that brings value is the yards after the catch. I think the
Mm-hmm.
things you're going to see him do for us is the tunnel screens,
Yep.
right?
yep.
Is the
That's what I
quick
was gonna say.
slants. It's those giving Brock a quick target, an easy completion to get him going, and to set that tone because he's so physical. To put him in between the tackles with 350-pound guys just doesn't make a ton of sense. I could totally see him doing reverses.
Yeah.
Yep,
I could totally see him being a guy like we saw in the playoffs where he caught the pass like Jawan did and then threw it because I've seen him throw the ball before, right? The Jawan Jennings
yep.
role. But I just don't think you're going to see like we did against Green Bay, where Debo lines up in the backfield and runs between the tackles 3, 4, 5 times a game. I just don't
And
think
that's
you're going to see that.
what I mean by he's not the same guy. He can't do that no more. You can't. The year we went to Green Bay in the snow, and he was just like, you know what, Kyle, just give me the ball. I'll go get it. He's not him no
I
more.
think
He's
he's
the
too valuable, unfortunately, right now,
oh,
considering where our
definitely
wide
now.
receivers are. He's too
Yeah.
valuable for that. I know he hasn't gotten a ton of separation in the preseason games, but like I said, you put that man in space. The one thing we've all seen as fans, you put that man in space, just give him 2 or 3 yards of separation to where he can turn, he'll make things happen. He's not the
Exactly.
fastest guy in the
Yeah.
world, but he'll take a 5 yard slant and turn it into a 50-yard slant in a hurry.
He's still the guy that no DB wants one on one. He's still
Oh yeah,
that guy.
nobody. Remember,
No,
remember when Jalen Ramsey made the business decision and was like, "Nope."
Nope.
he's still that guy. No DB
Oh
wants
yeah,
him one on one. But the whole lining up in the backfield, taking carries like he's McCaffrey or a real running back, I
the
can't see it.
fact that he said it as much as he hated playing running back, there had to have be some
well,
previous conversations.
You
There
say
had to
what you
be.
got to say. You say
I
what you got to
think
say to get the job.
LG though. I think that
No,
that was
there had to be
because
some
that was a point
conversations.
of contention, and one of the reasons
Yeah, that was
why
one of the
he
issues.
wanted out of San Francisco was because in his contract, in the
Yeah,
extension, he specifically wanted language that said, "Hey, I'm not going to be used as a running back." Right. And
yep,
so it was a point of contention. And I think for in order for him to quote unquote come home, I think he said all the right things like, hey, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. But like I said,
yep,
I think if we're all being honest with ourselves, I think the value that he brings is in the yak yards. Give him the
Yep.
ball within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage and let Debo do Debo things.
and like you say, with the reverses, with the screens, with all of because you gotta remember, Debo he can come in and play Wildcat too. So
Yeah,
that's why I said I think that he'll probably end up getting the third most carries because when you go to a Wildcat and he lines up in the backfield, he can catch the snap and he can run Wildcat.
I don't even care if he gets the third most carries as long as
Yep.
Kalen Black gets at least 150 carries.
Yep.
That's all. I just don't want to see Christian have more than 300
No.
carries.
No.
The
Christian needs
fact
to be
that
limited.
the fact that, and I'm gonna move on right after this.
Yes.
The fact that Christian has damn near no more guarantees tells me Kyle's gonna have to save him from himself because Christian is definitely with money on the line gonna say, "Hey, I'm not coming out this damn
Yeah.
game."
Right.
So we got to worry about that, and Kyle's got to. I say save Christian from himself, but Kyle's got to save Kyle from Kyle because he will use Christian up, and that's not beneficial for us. I want Christian as fresh as possible going into the playoffs, because to get to where we want to go, we need Christian. But
Absolutely. We don't make it there without him. Agreed.
we got like 5-6 minutes left, so I'm gonna run through these last two topics real quick. I'm gonna let y'all go. The trade we just traded for Deion Jones. We traded White, Deion Jones linebacker under Raheem Morris. I think it's just for camp body. Breaking news. What do you think? He gonna make the roster, or is he just here
I'll
to
keep it
fill a
I'll
spot?
keep it short and sweet. I think he actually makes the roster.
Okay.
Primarily because when you look at the guys we have on this team currently, like Wallow, who was literally sitting on the couch up until like October of last year. I think the reality is that we could do better. He has
Yeah.
experience in the scheme, and he may be a third string guy. But remember, we have a lot of younger guys like Jaden Duggar, like Nick Martin, and although these guys are way more athletic, they're going to need somebody to take them under their wing. And although Fred can do that in a lot of ways, one way he cannot do that is schematically. So I think Deion Jones makes it, but primarily on his prowess to be able to help teach the system and to be able maybe to be more like a second or third string. Like he's like the seventh or eighth linebacker.
Where you at, LG?
Um, I concur. I concur with what Brian said. Breaking news. I think, like I said, because you need, especially for like your linebackers, because they're your signal callers. You need somebody who knows the system, and even to a degree, you gotta, because you gotta remember, this is Fred Warner, this is Dre Greenlaw's first time playing in Raheem Morris's defense, and they're gonna even need that one guy to say, hey, let me get the cliff notes. Hey, hey, look, I thought I saw this, and I'm supposed to be here. Where was I supposed to be at? And they needed a guy like that. The only thing that I don't like about this is another name.
Son development for the young guys.
It almost makes me wonder: do they try to sneak Larry Worth? Do they try to sneak him on the practice squad?
Yeah, I agree with you guys, and just to add to that, Corey, and I because I know we're short on time. Is the other thing the only thing that makes me a little nervous about this signing? Because I love Larry Worth, I love Nick Martin, I love Jaden Dunger, these younger guys. Is the Niners play about 70%. Their quote unquote base defense is the two linebackers. Typically, we play a lot of nickel. Is when we go into the 4-3, right, where we actually bring in a strong side linebacker. Like if they bring in Deion Jones for that role, right? That would be disappointing, because that means whether it's Martin or Duggar or insert linebacker there, it means that these guys are not picking up the system quickly enough because athletically they're freaks, right?
Hey, breaking news, I'll toss this over to you and Corey.
And Worth.
When you're looking at like a Worth, that would be my concern because historically, guys that show flashes on the Niners, you can't sneak them on the practice squad because people love to pillage our practice squad.
I think it's going to be tough too because the other thing you got to remember with Worth is unlike a lot of these guys that sign a 1 year deal, he signed a 3 year deal.
Yeah.
So when if he's thrown out there on waivers, the other thing you got to think about is it's a lot more enticing to take a young guy that you're going to have 3 years with to develop, right? So just throwing that out there. Sorry, go ahead,
I
Corey.
think I think Deion Jones was getting cut in New Orleans. I don't think he was gonna make that team. I think they put Deion Jones on the practice squad, and he can do everything you just said they brought him here for.
You could,
I think you sneak him on the practice squad, like you said.
Can you
Worth
put
got
him
a
on the
got a
practice squad
three.
though?
yeah, you could put veterans on the
Yeah,
practice
Yeah,
squad.
so can you
yeah.
put him
Yeah,
on
He
hey, if you
and
can, that would be ideal because I agree with you guys. The three guys outside of obviously Dre and Warner that you just absolutely can't afford to lose is Worth, Martin, and Duggar. All three of those guys have shown exceptional promise and speed, and I really think some combination two of those three guys in 5 years are going to be standing next to each other and be the next tandem. I mean, those three guys have the athleticism and speed you just can't teach.
I'm
Yeah.
high on Duggar. I was high on him on draft night. But
Yeah.
real quick, I'm gonna let y'all go. I don't have one, so I'm gonna let y'all do it. Breaking news. I'll start with you. Surprise player to make this roster this year.
I think there's a ton of options here. I really do, but it just depends on who you think is surprising or not. But I'm gonna go super surprising here. I'm gonna say both of the undrafted free agent tackles, defensive tackles, both Eason and Thompson. Not one, both of them make the roster.
Okay.
I think guys like Sebastian Valdez, I think guys like West, Alfred Collins. I think all these dudes are on notice because, in my opinion, from what I've watched in the All 22 film and what I've seen in the games and what I've heard in practice, these two undrafted free agents have outplayed all the other defensive tackles on this team outside of Odigizua
About you,
and
LG?
maybe Grayson Hall.
Um, I probably would lean that way. I'm gonna go a different way with it, Corey, because we saw how good some of these guys have looked. I'll say that the move that we're probably gonna make, I see Christian Kirk getting cut.
That's one I can see.
I could,
I don't.
Yeah.
because I think that, like you said, they decided to keep. Lynch love tackles. Lynch love tackles. He keep the two young guys, and at the sacrifice of Kirk. Even though people like, oh, y'all need receivers, y'all need, but he's been hurt. He hasn't played. He has an injury history, and he's a guy. I feel like even if they, quote unquote, injury designate him as a cut, you can bring him back. I don't think nobody else is gonna pick him up.
Nah, ain't nobody
You
picking
bring
him
him back.
up.
You can bring him back.
You got to remember too the guaranteed money we gave him. So I'm not saying he should or will make the team, but I think part of the problem too is if you look at the amount of money the Niners gave him at 5 million bucks, and the fact that he's basically, for lack of a better term, been injured almost all of training camp and really has got nothing on film. We haven't even been able to see like, hey, can he still return punts or anything? Like, I think
Hey,
it bodes
their
well for
return
some of
job
these
is locked
younger
down.
guys.
Their return job is locked down right
Well,
now.
listen, I've actually talked to a couple guys, could be totally wrong for the next show. I've heard a couple guys that have actually said that are quote unquote in the know that said that they think Cowing is actually getting cut. I've had
Yeah,
multiple people say that.
I don't think Callen's making this team.
So
Oh,
you
that'd be big.
got to remember how deep we are right now at O and D line, at defensive, at linebacker and corner. Because last year we ran a little light on corner and we ran a little light on linebackers, and it came back to bite us. We have a lot of linebackers. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they end up keeping 6 or 7 linebackers, if they kept 7 corners, just because in the past what we've had is situations where we've had guys that just couldn't play, so we're like, we'll just go with 5, and it's ended up biting us. Same thing on the offensive line. They brought in a ton of guys. That doesn't necessarily mean that they can all play, but I wouldn't be surprised if on the offensive or defensive line, if we kept some extra bodies. That
So
they
wait,
they
wait.
tend to do
So,
that.
so breaking news. Let me ask y'all another question. If we do that and we keep those extra bodies, do we run with 2 quarterbacks or 3 quarterbacks?
Well, and that's what I was going to use my closing statement on. It's a sad situation, and I'll just do this as my outro, Corey. And I appreciate the comment, LG. I actually see a situation where the Niners are kind of in a lose lose. We talked about this before, me and Corey, when you weren't here, LG, and I basically said, listen, if Rourke plays well, you're in a situation where you have to keep him because Mac Jones is gone after this year, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Who doesn't want an heir apparent that already knows the system, that can play and function within the system? You can't subject this kid to waivers. So
Nope.
here's what I would say, and this is the old Niner 1-2, as you guys know. Don't be surprised if Rourke's injury always inexplicably becomes season ending, right? It's a fractured rib now, and also a herniated strain or something, so that they can get an extra year of eligibility out of him, because the Niners roster really can't support 3 quarterbacks, but they also really can't support cutting a guy that can play when Mac Jones won't be here next year.
Yep.
Peace, boys.
LG, hell of a show tonight. Get us out of here.
Yeah, man. Hell of a show, man. Look, hey, breaking news is gone. I'll rip the band-aid off of it, man. Look, hey, we got a lot of issues going on in Nine Land. Hopefully we can get our ownership together. Look, I'll break the I'll be that guy, man. Look, don't think that we shy away from any topics on this show, man. We talk about everything, man. And you know, we are I'm not gonna be rushed to judge. I'm gonna just say that hopefully it's some more come out of this conversation, and our owner can get his life together, because right now he out here looking like they told Ray Charles, man, your slip's showing, man, your slip's showing. That's all I'm gonna say, brother. Hey, but once again, man, shout out. Hey, tomorrow I'll be back on tomorrow with Total Sports. Corey be back in the house with backstage business on Wednesday, man. Keep checking us out, keep rocking with us. Everybody in the comments, keep coming through, man. We love it. We love it. Hey, you can make your comments, ask questions, the whole nine. We love the conversation. We love just not the Niners. We love sports in general. Love football. And like I say, keep rocking with us. And I'm out.
Like LG said, tomorrow's Total Sports Show, they're gonna cover a little bit of everything. Wednesday, we got the WWE show, Backstage Business. We appreciate y'all rocking with us. Check out our sponsor, ProMead, all your bedding needs, your sheets, and all that stuff. Use the code Executive 2026, get you 15% off your total order. Also, the executiveview.com. Go over there. We got links to everything. We got a bunch of partners. You can get all your merch over there. You can get some executive view stuff. You can get some NFL stuff, college basketball, NBA, whatever you like, we got it. Touching on what LG said, hey, Jed York, man, you got to tip more than $20, brother. You get what you pay for. But that's all for us tonight. We're going to catch you on the next one. Until then, it's always bang, bang, Niner gang.